Well, all right, people. So today I want to talk about Dr. Fauci, a man that's been in the news for the last few months here. He's been one of the guys that's been in the news the most, I would say, in the last few months here. He's been hailed as some kind of hero, some kind of medical expert that can never be wrong. And of course, the media is promoting this guy and talking about him all the time for two main reasons. One, sometimes he contradicts Trump. And the second one is he is pro lockdown and is not signaling the need to get out of these lockdowns anytime soon. So the media loves him. They talk about him. They talk about him like he's a number one expert. Like whatever he says, we should do as a country. Even though there's a lot more experts in this country that disagree with Dr. Fauci, even though there's a lot more elements of the coronavirus lockdown to look at when analyzing its effectiveness besides just coronavirus deaths in general. And you have him going out on TV, making statements like a few days ago saying that he doesn't think schools will be in a position to open. Now, Dr. Fauci does not have the authority, nor should he say something like that. Now, you say why? Well, you can't deal with schools on a national level. You can't say, well, all schools should be shut down for the fall or all schools should be open for the fall because there's geographical differences with coronavirus. So to say, oh, let's not open all schools in the fall. And now he didn't really say that outright, but he really hinted at it. He said that we won't have a vaccine in the fall, which we won't. So, but to say something like that is totally irresponsible. What Fauci should be doing is giving his input and stating the facts. You look at all these other experts around Trump. A lot of people I've never heard of, but when they get on the microphone and they start talking like about testing, they say, yeah, we've done 12 million tests. We're going to scale it up to 350,000 a day in the next few days. We're going to test people in nursing homes. And then I'll ask, oh, hey, somebody, do you want to talk about the PPE we delivered to the hospitals? And they'll, oh, we delivered 8 million masks, 4,000 ventilators, whatever. They'll state the facts. But they won't go and say, oh, and by the way, Mr. President, I think we should have all schools closed. Oh, by the way, Mr. President, there's no way we could open these businesses by next month. No, they state the facts. And that's a job of the president, is to take facts from all aspects of the issue, like the economy, like mental health, like coronavirus deaths, like deaths from other things that are caused by the lockdown, and weigh all these into account and make a decision on the matter. And also, Dr. Fauci does not get to usurp the Constitution in our civil liberties. The Constitution is in place 4 times like these, 4 times when we have so-called emergencies, because our rights do not vanish during times like these. We still have a First Amendment and a Second Amendment, Third Amendment, etc. during times of times like these, like during World War II, where a lot more people died from coronavirus, and a lot younger people, by the way. We still had constitutional rights. During previous outbreaks, we still had constitutional rights. Businesses still had a right to operate. Even though 40,000 people die every year in car accidents, we still have a right to drive our damn cars. And we still have a right to live our lives, even though going out in a car might kill somebody. My decision to go out in a car, I could kill somebody. But it's still allowed. Alcohol is still allowed, still legal. And you ask why? Even though these things increase the chance of death in society, why are they still allowed? Because that's called freedom. That's called prosperity. These things may directly lead to death. Driving a car may directly lead to death, but driving a car also leads to personal freedom. It leads to the expansion of our economy. It's a mode of transportation and travel. And it signifies the prosperity we have as a country. So Dr. Fauci does not get to usurp the Constitution. And he said it in his testimony. I am an expert on infectious diseases. I'm not an expert on the economy. So there you go. He does not have the authority to make decisions. He needs to give the facts. And when talking about, should schools go back in the fall? Should 30 million kids go back to school in the fall, or should we cancel in-person classes because of literally like 10 people died from 10 kids died from coronavirus. I don't even think it's at 100 yet of kids that have died from coronavirus. I mean, more kids die from the flu than coronavirus. So we have this question, should we go back? And how many times have you heard Fauci or any expert or anybody in the media talk about what the death rate is among kids from coronavirus? How many times have you heard him say how many kids have died from coronavirus and the death rate from coronavirus in regards to children? Because that would be very important, a big factor in considering whether to go back to school in the fall or not for every educational institution, including higher ed, high school, middle school, etc. You don't hear them talking about that, because if they did talk about that, that would give favor to the crowd that says let's go back to school in the fall. They seem to just want everything closed for as long as possible. And so you really have an unprecedented time in human history where the government, and by government I mean Dr. Fauci for the most part, because that's what everybody loves to talk about. Dr. Fauci is making risk assessment for 330 million Americans. So before this pandemic, it was always thought that yes, because of the economy we have, because of the culture we have, because of the prosperity we have, there is death because of that. But that makes up a very small percentage of the population that dies because of our prosperity. Like, again, driving cars. You're not going to see people dying because they're driving cars in Africa. And according to these people's logic, well, that's a great thing, right? That's a great thing that they don't drive cars in Africa, right? No, it's not, because they don't have any freedom. They don't have any prosperity. I mean, we acknowledge as humans that it's a good risk to take to drive our cars to work every day, to make money, and to keep our economy going. We take risks when we drive our cars to anywhere, just to have fun, just to, like, you name it, just to go golfing. People drive their cars. We take risk assessments as humans as to what we want to do with our lives. That is called freedom. It's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. It's called personal responsibility. But when it comes to corona, it's like, well, now we can't make our own risk assessments. The government has to tell us that your 0.001% chance of dying from coronavirus is enough to close down your business and to not you might have built your business up the last 10, 20 years, but that doesn't matter, because you have such a tiny chance of dying from coronavirus, so you can't open back up ever again. Because you're not going to make any money over these next few months when you're closed. So, you're just going to go out of business. And I see a lot of people, well, the economy is opening, right? No, it's not. You have businesses that are open at, like 30% capacity. That's not going to cut it for a lot of businesses. And you also have, I hear this a lot. Well, most people are in favor of the lockdown. Well, you know why that is because the government is giving out trillions of dollars in handouts to these people. And a lot of people are actually, like myself, are actually making more on unemployment than I would be at my normal job. So that's why so many people, I think, are in favor of this lockdown and not too harshly opposed against it. If you cut out all these programs that have racked up our debt, I think you would see a lot more people that are opposed to the lockdown and would want to get back to work. There are some people that have fallen through the cracks, but I think for the most part, most people who are unemployed have received that $600 a week at least for unemployment. Most people have received their $1,200 stimulus check. So you have a lot of people that are complacent right now. A lot of people that really don't give a fuck about their constitutional rights and personal freedom and civil liberties. But then you also have a lot of people who, for some reason, cannot get unemployment, can't get these loans, and a lot of businesses that will go out of business, unfortunately, because of this. And it seems like nobody really wants to talk about those people. It's all about the nurses, the healthcare heroes, the frontline heroes. It's like we're fighting a war, people. You know, the people on the front lines. They're not on the front. You know, I'm really sick of hearing about the healthcare heroes. Yes, there are a lot of people who are brave, especially people that are in that vulnerable population that put their lives on the line um, in hospitals. But the people that are unemployed are also heroes in my mind. Are also people that maybe not heroes, but they need to be recognized for their sacrifice. So there you go, people. I'm sure people will keep talking about Dr. Fauci and hyping him up as the greatest thing since sliced bread. So there you go, people.